Hey, this is Rick Off the Record reporting for the Truth Radio, March 10th, 2023. So, race hustler Colin Kapernick is back in the news, now with some amazing allegations, accusing his white adoptive parents of problematic upbringing and being racist. So, according to Fox News and many other channels, race hustler Colin Kaepernick, former NFL quarterback, has accused his adoptive parents of perpetuating racism in an interview that aired Thursday. Kaepernick talked about coming to terms with his racial identity while growing up in a white family in his new graphic novel, Change the Game. Sorry, I'm gonna try and work through this nonsense here. In his new graphic novel, Change the Game, the former football player recalled disagreements with his parents that he attributed to racism, calling his upbringing problematic. I know my parents loved me, but there were still very problematic things that I went through, the biracial quarterback said to CBS News. I think it was important to show that no, this can happen in your own home, and how we move forward collectively while addressing the racism that is being perpetuated, he added. Kaepernick illustrated one specific example of this in the novel, depicting a fight he had with his parents during his high school over his hairstyle. Inspired to braid his hair in cornrows like his hero, NBA star Allen Iverson, Kaepernick recalled receiving pushback from his parents. He's getting what roles? His mom says in the graphic novel. I'm going to just pause right here and just kind of dig into this a bit. This guy's an obvious race hustler. He's washed up in the NFL. His skills have lagged. He's nowhere and he needs money. So he's pulling an Al Sharpton or, Jesse Jackson or Benjamin Crump. Just pulling some game here to try to get some money, get back in the news with some attention. But the drop as low as calling your parents racist. Your parents, this white couple had no reason, if they were racist, they had no reason to adopt you, knowing that you're biracial. It's pretty clear you're not white. And they adopted you, they raised you, they took care of you, and they gave you opportunity that you would have never had otherwise. So for you to come out and call your parents' concern and trying to give you some common sense guidance racism, it's ridiculous. It's really shameful. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the video about this.
It's his true high school coming of age story, his journey embracing his blackness, despite resistance from many, including his white adoptive parents.
I know my parents loved me, but there were still very problematic things that I went through. I think it was important to show that, no, this can happen in your own home, and how we move forward collectively while addressing the racism that is being perpetuated.
He took cues from his icon, basketball star Allen Iverson, who he said wore his blackness like a suit of armor. And teenage Kaepernick wanted cornrows to match. He's getting what roles, his mom asked?
Oh, your hair's not professional. Oh, you look like a little thug.
Your mom said that to you.
Yeah. And those become spaces where it's like, okay, how do I navigate this situation now? But it also is informed why I have my hair long today.
All right, so you saw that. And this kind of lends itself to what Scott Adams and my partner Crazy Eddie was reporting on, that said, it doesn't matter what white people do for black people, they will ultimately always be called racist. This story kind of lends itself to that. This couple adopted him, took him into their home, raised him, and he's going to bring up an example of cornrows. And his parents said he would look like a thug and he may not be able to get a job, which back then was probably true. We were living in a different time back then. And I know my parents told me the same thing about having, long hair, if you wanted to consider locking your hair, if you wanted to consider getting cornrows, braids, even high flat tops and other items. My parents would state their opinion and say, hey, you may not be able to get work with that. You may not be able to get certain jobs with that, based on what they were seeing in society, what they were seeing in corporate offices, corporate America at the time. But honestly, this is Colin Kaepernick. He went to the school of race hustling. He needs money. He's putting out a graphic novel calling out his parents. which I just think is shameful. And as far as his NFL prospects, even Warren Sapp came out a few months ago and said that Colin Kaepernick had one of the worst workouts he's ever seen. So he's washed up in the NFL. He knows that. Doesn't matter what the liberal media tries to portray or say about that. We all know that Colin Kaepernick is done in the NFL. He needs money. What better way than to pull the race card once again, and this time pull it on his parents? Getting back to the story, the former football player turned social justice activist said these teenage interactions helped shape his decisions as an adult to embrace his ethnicity. Those become spaces where it's like, okay, how do I navigate the situation now? But it also has informed why I have my hair long today, Kaepernick told CBS. Well, having your hair long, in my opinion, is not a problem. Pulling a race card and calling your parents racist, parents that took care of you, that raised you in this world that we live in and brought you to adulthood and obviously gave you those opportunities to play baseball and then switch to football and supported you in that, kind of shows that they're not. But what it shows is that you're ignorant, you're following the wrong path, and it's why you're not in the NFL today, because you are just an attention grabber. Continuing. The former San Francisco 49ers player drew national attention when he started protesting the national anthem, kneeling on the field during NFL games to protest police brutality and racism. Since then, he has partnered with Netflix for a docudrama series based on his life, and with Ben & Jerry's ice cream for its non-dairy flavor, Change the World. He also has made endorsement deals with Nike and other major companies over the years. So like I said, the race hustle is running out of money. His marketability is going away. They got to find a way to get him back in the spotlight. You can't really do the police brutality because now you got black cops killing black people. So the police brutality card's a little stained now. You can't ride that. And it's been quiet since the whole Black Lives Matter movement and their foolishness came to light. So he needs another way to make money. And what better way than to have him play the victim and pull out the race card and say, hey, I had a tough life growing up because my parents were racist. My white parents who adopted my mixed colored ass are racist. This guy should be ashamed of himself. He had more opportunity. Just being raised by white parents alone, that gave him a lot of opportunity, and it shows. The guy was in the NFL. He squandered that opportunity. He didn't appreciate it. He got kicked out, and now he wants to pull a race card on his parents. Listen, man, I can't say enough about this guy and his worthlessness. I have to tell you. What his parents need to do is the same thing the royal family did to Simp Harry and Meghan's victimized asses. Cut them off. Take back whatever you've given them. Cut them off. That's what they need to do to him. Cut off Colin Kaepernick. Disown him. Let him go find his real parents and see how that works out. But his money's drying up. His marketability's drying up. He is drying up in terms of value. He doesn't stand a chance in the NFL. He's not getting back in there, so he's had to pull a race card on his parents and put out a graphic novel depicting them as racist. I don't want to curse on here, but he is worthless. He's a clown. He's a piece of garbage, in my opinion. So let me know what you think. I know I went in a little hard on this one. Put in the comments what you think about this. Do you agree with Colin Kaepernick? Do you think he had a rough life by his racist white parents that adopted him? Or do you think he's just a clown that went to Race Hustler Academy like Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and others? Let me know in the comments below. This is Rick Off the Record for The Truth Radio, signing out.